The grand concert hall fell into an uneasy hush as the renowned pianist, Victor Langston, adjusted his cufflinks with a smirk that cut through the air like a razor. The audience, packed with music aficionados and curious onlookers, had come to witness a masterclass in virtuosity, until the unexpected guest, Senator John Neely Kennedy, took the stage. Known more for his folksy drawls and sharp-witted Senate quips than any musical talent, Kennedy's presence drew a ripple of laughter when he announced he'd play a piece. Victor, a man whose fingers had danced across the keys of the world's greatest stages, couldn't resist. Leaning into the microphone with a theatrical flourish, he mocked, "Well, folks, I reckon we're in for a real treat, country charm meets Chopin." The crowd erupted, some with amusement, others with embarrassment, as Kennedy's cheeks flushed a deep red. Little did they know, that moment of ridicule would ignite a transformation no one could foresee. John Neely Kennedy had always been a man of the people, a Louisiana senator with a knack for turning complex policy into relatable anecdotes. But music, that was a private passion, a secret he'd nursed since childhood, taught by his grandmother on an old upright piano in their Bayou home. Those lessons had faded into memory as his career took precedence, but the sting of Victor's words reignited something deep within him, a mix of pride, shame, and a burning desire to prove himself. As he sat at the gleaming Steinway, his hands trembled slightly, not from fear but from the weight of a lifetime of unspoken dreams. The audience's snickers faded into a tense silence as he positioned his fingers, his mind racing back to those humid afternoons with his grandmother, her gentle voice guiding him through scales. Victor Langston, a prodigy turned legend, watched with a smug grin, confident that this politician's attempt would be a comedic disaster. His own journey had been one of relentless discipline, years of conservatory training, grueling tours, and the pressure to maintain his reputation as a musical god. Yet, beneath his polished exterior lay a man who'd sacrificed friendships and family for his art, a loneliness he masked with arrogance. As Kennedy began to play, Victor's smirk faltered. The first notes of Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata emerged, hesitant but deliberate, each chord carrying a raw, unpolished emotion that struck the hull like a thunderclap. The audience leaned forward, their earlier mockery replaced by stunned curiosity. The challenge was immediate and brutal. Kennedy's technique was far from perfect, his fingers stumbled over a few bars, and his rhythm wavered under the pressure of 1,000 eyes. Whispers began to rise, and Victor seized the moment, muttering loud enough for the front row to hear, "Amateur hour, indeed." But Kennedy pressed on, his mind flashing to his grandmother's words, "Music ain't about perfection, Johnny, it's about the heart." Drawing on that memory, he steadied himself, letting the melody flow with a sincerity that no conservatory could teach. The piece built, each note a testament to his resilience, and by the time he reached the haunting adagio, tears glistened in the eyes of those closest to the stage. A single mother in the third row, who'd raised her kids alone while chasing her own dreams, felt a pang of recognition. A young musician, struggling to break into the industry, saw his own doubts mirrored in Kennedy's struggle. Victor's confidence crumbled as the performance unfolded. He'd expected a farce, not this soul-bearing rendition that exposed his own emotional sterility. Halfway through, he stood, intending to interrupt, but the sight of Kennedy, sweat beading on his brow, yet playing with a fierce determination, stopped him cold. The senator's hands, though unrefined, wove a story of perseverance, of a man who'd traded his youthful passions for public service but never let them die. The hall grew thick with emotion, the air charged with a collective holding of breath. When Kennedy hit the final, resonant chord, the silence that followed was deafening, a void filled only by the sound of his own ragged breathing. Then, the applause erupted, a tidal wave of sound that shook the rafters. People rose to their feet, clapping with a fervor that transcended admiration for skill, reaching into the realm of shared humanity. Victor, his face a mask of conflicting emotions, approached the stage. For a moment, it seemed he might offer a sarcastic remark, but instead, he extended a hand. "I was wrong," he said, his voice low but clear. "That wasn't just playing, that was living." The crowd cheered louder, and Kennedy, still catching his breath, shook Victor's hand, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. The pianist, humbled, invited Kennedy to join him for a duet, a spontaneous decision that turned the evening into a celebration of unity and redemption. As the night wore on, with the two men trading pieces, Victor's precision now softened by Kennedy's heartfelt improvisation, the audience witnessed a rare alchemy. The senator's story spread like wildfire, inspiring a wave of social media posts and news headlines. Senator silences critics with piano mastery. Backstage, Kennedy reflected on the journey, the ridicule that had pushed him to reclaim a part of himself he'd buried. Victor, too, felt a shift, realizing that his own success had distanced him from the very emotion that had once fueled his music. They parted with a promise to collaborate again, a bond forged in the crucible of that night. By the end, as the last notes faded and the crowd dispersed into the cool August night, a powerful message lingered. John Neely Kennedy's triumph wasn't just about silencing the world with his playing, it was about proving that courage, vulnerability, and the pursuit of passion could bridge divides, heal old wounds, and inspire others to chase their own dreams, no matter how long they'd been set aside. For the viewers watching this unfold on YouTube, it was a reminder that within every heart beats a song waiting to be played, and sometimes, all it takes is one brave note to change everything.